Okay, grant application for the history of Colorado. Amy?
Sure. So I've got a great teammate here today with Tammy Ragnauer, representing the Otero County Historic Preservation Advisory Board, to announce a really cool project. She gets to do the fun stuff and tell you the great project. What I'm going to do is ask for approval of a grant application with the history of Colorado through the Certified Local Government Sub-Grant Application Program. How many times can I say program in a sentence? 4? 5? The total for this project is coming in at a budget of $77,918.39. The coolest part, besides the project in whole, is that board will be putting in-kind work equaling $63,750. So the request for this grant is $14,168.39. Did I go fast enough?
39 cents?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Amy, you said 14,16839?
You
Yep.
did it.
Got it.
You're listening good. I did review the application and all the attachments. It's got a significant number of letters of support from educators and people of the community that I can't imagine that this wouldn't be approved. So I'd like to pass it on to Tammy if I can.
Good afternoon.
Good
Hi, Tammy.
How are you guys?
Good.
Good. I'm great. So this proposed project is coming from the Otero County Preservation Group, and they do a lot of work that's on the ground, as you guys know, boots to the ground and buildings. And I came on to this group probably about 5 months ago, and in talking with Rebecca Goodwin, there was a project she'd seen at the national level where Decatur, Arkansas had taken some time and a lot of energy and created this student handbook on historical sites. And I was like, oh, we can do that. We can do that. And so really this project is going to create a consumable workbook. Consumable is a workbook in the educational world. And it'll be at the 3rd grade level, because in Colorado, 3rd grade is where a lot of your local and state history gets a chance to be introduced and taught. And so the goal of the board is to help preserve and document locations for future generations. And secondly, we hope to help instruct students on what historical preservation is all about and how they can be instrumental in that, even as 3rd graders and on into their adult life. This consumable book is going to be about 40 to 50 pages long, and we plan to use 6 or 7 sites per town. So Fowler, Manzanola, Rocky Ford, Swink, La Junta, Cheraw, Higbee, and Tempest will all be included in our book. And we've spent some time right now. We kind of, Darren is also on the same committee, and we've been out looking and taking pictures. And we've got a base to start with, but it is by no means set in stone that those will be the sites we're going to use. The front and back covers, so we're going to put out spring of 2023, so coming up, a competition between 7th through 12th graders in the art departments in any of those towns, and have them submit some designs for the cover. And we hope to highlight 2 local artists for the covers of this book. The pages of this book will contain obviously photographs. It could also have diagrams. We have some local artists that are going to, like The Dry, which is outside Manzanola. There are no physical structures left of that. So that's all stories, firsthand accounts, and we're hoping that our artists can create coloring pages. Not necessarily, I hate to call it that, but that's the easiest way to explain it. In Higbee Valley, there are no structures really left standing out there. And so we hope to have some artistic renderings of that area to help students understand what happened in that location. There will be historical information around architecture and key individuals that helped develop each of the previously mentioned communities. And around this information, key questions, activities will be embedded to help students build a better understanding of the topics being introduced. The companion manual or teacher's resource will be tied to the Colorado third grade standards, and disciplines being introduced would be reading, writing, communicating, history, geography, economics, and civics. And we're going to hopefully carefully embed essential instructional strategies. In the educational world, we call those best practices, to help the teacher utilize this workbook to the best of its ability. Obviously, you guys know that Jill Manley, Ed Stafford, Darren Garcia, LaDonna Hutt, and Becky Goodwin, and myself, we're going to be doing the legwork. I know that Amy talked about our in-kind service, so we've already been on the ground. I mean, we've got mileage, photography. Ed Stafford's already editing and rewriting some things that we've started with. The timeline is spring of 2023. We're going to obviously start with the 7 through 12 art competition for the pages. And then research and layout of the pages will start once we get really on the ground in the spring of 23. Fall of 2024, proofing and printing of the books, and the spring of 2025 distributions of the books to each school districts. And we also are going to include homeschool children in that group. Finally, so my passion is history. That's what I taught. And researching local history connects meaningful learning opportunities for all students. Using multiple methods, students can uncover the history of their community and identify people and places of local historical interest while also learning the importance of historic preservation. We want to help students understand that what they are growing up around with has value, not only to themselves, but to the world. So there we are, in a nutshell. Any questions?
What a wonderful thing, Tammy. This is amazing. Wish it would have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because it's, there's so many things that people don't realize that are just around here that most people have never heard of.
Yeah, I mean, you just think Santa Fe Trail, I mean, there's just a lot of, and the book will start with the Native American area and peoples in the Santa Fe Trail and work its way forward.
Cool.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Don't run off yet.
Okay.
So, I have questions and then comments. So the question would be, and this may be too early to tell, but is this something that maybe down the road we update or change and add or subtract in those types? Is that something that's already been considered, or it's, hey, let's get this done first and then we'll progress from there?
You kind of answered your question a little bit. So yes, we have discussed it. Not totally as the group, but Rebecca and I have discussed that maybe, because this is third grade, and we'll be very cognizant of the materials we put into the book so that they meet that need. But middle school and high school, I think there's a place. And so yes, there is a possibility of a second edition to this. And we want to just get, because everything we've seen has not had a teacher's manual, so it's going to take some time to develop. But our plan is to get at least 1,000 copies, and Darren, you're going to have to help me. Were we 300 third graders?
Yeah, we're about 325 total third graders in
Otero County. So we're hoping to get 1,000 books printed the first round, so that it's not a one and done.
Right.
That
was my
yes. That we're hoping that this is a good enough resource that third grade teachers can just pull it out, and that is the history, and you do just a little addition with your Colorado state facts and history to this.
And you said it's how many pages?
40 or 50.
Okay.
It just depends on what additional pages. I mean, you could do Venn diagrams, which you draw and you have them compare and contrast. So there are a lot of educational pages that can be embedded into that that help with the learning of the activity. So we've got a 10-page kind of leadway in there to help with the development of the educational practices.
Right, okay. That covers my questions, now my comment.
Mhm.
Like Rob, I think this is a great endeavor. I believe that history is what makes us for the future, right? And you've already made comments that Higby Valley, there's no standing, and the dry in Manzanola, there's not. So we're already losing some of that history, and so in order to keep it going for future generations, this is a great way to do it. And I applaud you, and I applaud all of you on the committee for doing this endeavor and just making sure that we keep the right things in there and not things that don't belong in there to our third graders.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
perfect.
cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
Are there gonna be any like physical monuments or markers that might go along with some of the, I don't know, it might be kind of a good thing to go along with,
So when you talk about a physical monument,
or markers just for the location. like
oh,
the-
that does bring up a good point. Thank you. So a lot of these sites are privately owned. And so then you have to be super careful.
Okay.
First of all, before anything can be published or anything, we've got to have written approval from every landowner. And when I think about, so there is a Santa Fe Trail marker that sits on our family's ranch.
Mhm.
You know, would we do things, is that what you're asking? Would
Yeah,
we
like
add
would there maybe
something?
be some kind of, that way there'd be a actual tangible connection with the book?
We have talked, I know
And
Amy
it wouldn't
was,
have to be expensive, it could just be a small.
we have
rock.
talked about this quite a bit when Amy was at one of our meetings, and maybe could these kids visit that site, and how do you make it a scavenger hunt of some sort? We've talked about it, there's nothing in stone yet, no pun intended on that, but we would like, that is something that could maybe go on with that second edition if we wanted to add to that third grade, is okay, let's visit that. I would love for each, like kids in La Junta, do a walking tour
Mhm.
to those sites and be able to physically see it, or if you're in Rocky Ford or Fowler. I don't know, we're gonna put those suggestions in the teacher resource and see where we can go from there.
And it would just depend on with the landowners if they would allow you. I know when I was young, I got lucky enough to go down and go on the Bowden Trail and see the paintings in the canyon.
Yeah.
And you can't go anymore. But when we were kids, they allowed us to go down there, and then I think a few things happened, so they said, no.
And
no more."
that is the thing, that not everybody, and hopefully we can help develop that saving history
Right.
from a young
Right.
age. But just like San Joseville, which is down in Higby, the
Right.
Simmons family still has structures that were part of that town, but do they want everybody driving up that road?
Right,
I don't know.
yeah.
So we'll have to be very upfront with landowners, and we will not include addresses in the first run books by any means.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, the marker for the Rocky Ford crossing is not at the
It
actual
is
site,
not.
so if you, even if you could do something towards in the vicinity and you can pull over and read about it.
Yeah, yeah.
something
No,
like
that's,
that.
I know the group has done some work with traveling around from here to Kim and back 350 on the radio, so,
Mhm.
yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
That was a good plug for the podcast,
Yeah.
right?
There you
I
go.
think you can access that on the Otero County website. There are placards if some of these places are listed on the registry though, right? So maybe.
Yeah, it gives it, we've got a lot of ways to maybe branch
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
So this motion would include two, if you don't mind, if you
Okay.
approve. It would be for the grant application. And then second is a letter of support from the commissioners for the project as well.
Okay, so you want me just to include them all in the same line?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
Yes,
so I'll
thank
make a motion to approve the grant application, and that's the $14,168.39.
Yes, sir.
And then also a motion to approve the letter of support from the commissioners.
Okay, and I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye?
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Tammy. This
Yes,
is a
thank you.
wonderful project.
Agreed.
I am so excited already.
Yeah.
This is gonna be great. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know.
Will do.
Can you draw?
No, stick figures.
Stick
Stick
figures.
figures.
Stick figures,
Stick figures,
you
I
have to
got
put clothes on stick figures, no naked, stick
Oh,
figures.
good to know.